So, hello everyone, and welcome back to chapter 13. Now, it may be an abrupt jump to go from chapter 9 to chapter 13. I do that from time to time to make sure I don't read all the chapters, so I'll leave some content for you to read. But if you're too lazy, then I guess this is a good introduction to the author and then, exposure to it. But also because I get bored, okay? I read for my own personal enjoyment, and I only want to read the chapters that I find exciting or fun. Now, for a reader who's already read this once, the places where I might find exciting may be very different from what you find exciting, or, it's very subjective based on my personal taste. But it goes back to the whole making content that I enjoy, because if I make content that I don't enjoy, it's very easy to get burned out. Even if I make content that I enjoy, it's very easy to get burned out and not enjoy it anymore. But I'm not going to go too much into the nuances of that in YouTube, especially since I'm dedicating my own personal time to this. And we'll just start reading. But I'll give a quick summary of what happened between chapter 9 and 13, okay? So I basically went to the concert. Some interesting events happened. I'll leave that to your speculation and for you to read. Um, um, like, does he meet his school goddess Zhou Xiaoqi? What happens next? Roughly speaking, there's some sort of betting agreement. He finds his heroine after certain events. Um, and then he basically just makes things happen. For me, reading out those chapters out loud are kind of boring. But for those who want to know more about the context, you're perfectly welcome to read. But I know for me, since I already know the story, each of these chapters are going to be fun. So these rereading chapters are actually more for people who've already read the story. But if you haven't read, I guess it's a good place to start. And then I highly suggest if you enjoy some of these, go read it on your own, and just fill in the gaps. Yeah, sorry for my bad taste, I guess. Anyway, chapter 13 of I Only Make Bad Movies, 我只会拍烂片呢. So chapter 13, 第13章, 黄老师我来蹭饭了. So just quick context. Huang means yellow, right? So that's Huang. You're gonna see it looks very similar to the cat and gold character. 老师 is just teacher. 老 meaning old, and then 师 just meaning professor or teacher, right? 我来 means I'm coming to, and then 蹭 is to serve, right? 蹭饭了, and then 饭 is rice or food, plate or dish. And then he has in parentheses 四千字. That's because he's written 4,000 characters. Normally, authors write somewhere between a length of 1,500 for some of the newer authors, maybe as low as 1,000, depending. But usually the average is about 2,000, 2,500. And then some of the very skilled authors will write upwards of 3 to 4, 5,000. I've seen upwards of 6 to 8,000. Those guys are insane because some of these authors, they can write 20,000, 40,000 words a day. But that's a very difficult skill to have. That's like trying to write, a 5, 8 page essay in a single day, college ruled size 12 font, and so on and so forth. But yeah, you can see 4,096 characters. 4,096 characters. That's what do they call um 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 one of the multiples of 2 in an exponential form. I think it's like 2 to the 9, I believe, or something. It's something pretty high up there. It's ones and zeros, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so let's read this chapter. Chapter 13. Mr. Huang, I'm here to eat. That eat or serve, something like that. I'm here to serve food. The probability of getting investment from Mr. Zhang is not high. It's only about 10%. Mr. Zhang is a very dedicated person. However, investing in a movie is not a small amount. And Mr. Zhang is basically unlikely to give it at all to me. After all, she's just a counselor who's graduated, and she is about the same age as me. Mr. Huang has a slightly higher chance of attracting investment, but it can only be about 15%. There's so many things to do in the entertainment industry, and I don't have much advantage over these people. So even if I package the script really well to pull investment, I still may not get it, right? This, as I said, right? For the common networking, you need about a hundred. I think Slide Bean, I forgot the guy's name, is like it starts with a C or a K. But he basically said you need about 1,000 investors to get your first 500,000, right? So he talked to like what 148 investors and he got like 850,000 for his entrepreneurial bet, I guess. And then obviously you have to do execution. Where I'm not I'm not gonna play a lecture here. I'm just here to read a story, but I just wanted to add some interesting background context that I found interesting. It would be nice to be able to pull people into the show. Mr. Zhang's loyal suitor Ceng Feiyu has a higher probability of attracting investment. The probability should be around 50%. This is quite feasible. Apart from them, other people such as Qing Yao have a slightly higher probability of attracting investment. It should be 60%. Who's Qing Yao? Well, you're welcome to read. According to the information provided by the thin monkey and her contact with her, she's definitely someone who wants to see a miracle. A person at the same time should also be easily impressed. As for the others, for the time being, I have nothing to do with other people with my own personal connections. In the early morning. After signing the agreement, Sung Long arrived at dormitory lying on the bed alone and began to reflect on the results of his labor in the past few days. He then frowned. So far, apart from reaching a real agreement with Wang Jingguo, the clothing store owner, everyone else has basically been in a state of half a bucket of water. Qing Yao did not compensate him for the loss of more than 1,000 in the end, and even gave him a blank stare. Thinking of this, Sung Long lowered his head and touched the bank card in his pocket. In addition to the 100,000 yuan advertising sponsorship fees obtained by the dormitory brothers, all I can really use is about 500 yuan. This is very principled, by the way, right? He has business expenses and personal expenses. He does not embezzle his business expenses for his personal. A lot of people cross that line from time to time, right? You take money from one business and put it into the other. You really need to keep your book straight. Some people can play that line and some people can't. Um, I'm not going to make a subjective judgment. I don't even want to take the moral high ground and say you should do this or this. That's really up to your own personal decision. I'm just reading a story and giving you background. But I'm just saying, right? Our character has split his life quite well. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, that's up to your own personal decision making. But I think it is quite admirable. 500 yuan. This is my last. This is my last amount. It's really hard to live with a small amount of money. If it's a student who stays at school, it's fine. But now, I also have to go pull film investment too, right? Marketing. You need money for mobile phone bills, money for travel expenses, money for meals. As soon as he closed his eyes, Sung Long's mind was full of money flying. Right? This is what we call business expenses, deductible tax revenue for buying an office chair, buying an office space, right? Travel expenses, and they rack up quite high. Some of these people rack up thousands of dollars, right, in dinners and drinks, and there's a little bit of embezzlement and we're not going to go into there. So Long loses more and more. What if Qing Yao isn't able to pull herself together? What if she makes a fuss about the concert? She really might be able to get her ticket refunded. With more than 1,000 yen, what can you do? If my ticket is refunded, I won't be so poor. But who tore the ticket? Moreover, this concert was really worthless, and I've never met Zhou Xiaoxi. So there's the answer to your question. I don't even know what to do. Some people say that taking a step back will open up the sky, but Sung Lang is so angry about thinking about having to take a step back. Skull pain, headache. Uh, Sometimes I don't know whether these little translations are more fun or the correct translation will be more fun because then these things kind of become in jokes. You know what I mean? So it's kind of difficult. I get attached to little translations. I'm more in the school of literal rather than real translation. But hey, it also just signifies that my translation ability is not good. Um, Sung Long tossed and turns, but he couldn't sleep. However, when Sung Long later thought of signing a contract with Qing Yao, Sung Long felt that his path was narrowed just now. Isn't Qing Yao just as good? Isn't her influence in the entertainment industry more powerful than Zhou Xiaoxi, a 5,000-year-old beauty with long legs? People have been child stars since childhood, and now they're popular goddesses. This deal is quite worth it. He definitely earned his money's worth. Qing Yao, tisk tisk. I suddenly found that you were like a key that can open those closed doors. Before I met you, my previous efforts can only been to have said to be half-baked. But after meeting you, the plan is now about to be completed, and I'm finally going to succeed. Right? Adults only look at results. Let's start harvesting tomorrow. Harvesting the leeks, which is very interesting. Ivan Polka with Hatsune Miku. In the dormitory, Sanlang showed a smile that even he himself didn't understand very well. Then he clenched his fists, almost in joy, right? Just him walking down the street. He's still in his suit, so yeah, it's a hot day. Fist in his hands, and just passersby passing him in this city landscape. King's Avatar. When the first ray of sunshine in the morning broke through the darkness, Mr. Huangpo woke up from his sleep. The summer vacation is coming, and his variety show Life in a Dream will also start to be filmed. In addition to Life in a Dream, Huangbo has also picked up another urban drama, right? Because he's a film professor and teacher, and then he's also in the film industry, entertainment industry. His schedule is very quick, busy, and he has to prepare in advance. He'll be busy this summer, but that's just his norm, right? That's normal for him. Just when Huangbo finished washing up and was about to eat breakfast, his daughter-in-law Wu Li came over. Old Huang, your students have been waiting for you for a long time. This is the classic, waiting outside your professor's door um, context, but I'm not going to go into it. Student? Well, I've been waiting at the door since 5 o'clock in the morning. There should be something important. Which one? Sung Lang? Huh? Why is he here? What's wrong? It's okay. Let Auntie Chen prepare two breakfasts. This kid probably came here hungry. It's already being prepared. Mm. After Huang Bo told his wife Zhang Li, he went downstairs. As soon as he walked downstairs, he saw Seng Lang sitting honestly on the sofa eating fruit, with two bottles of liquor under his feet. Hey, Mr. Huang! When he saw Huang Bo get up, Seng Lang immediately put down the fruit and stood up excitedly. You can almost imagine him just shooting up, arms by his side, uh, like as if he saw a pile of gold, as the idiom would go. Sit down. Why are you here so early? I was a little hungry. I came over to grab some breakfast. The economy is very tight recently, The financial crisis, the stock market is plump. Wow, that's still very relevant right now. In short, I just can't do it. Zheng Long said what was in his heart without saying a word. You don't know how to be polite, huh? Huang Bo was helpless when he saw Zheng Long's serious face, uh, but he was still saying some very shameless words. I'm your student. Why should I be polite? Zheng Long shook his head. I taught you in an open class. Am I your teacher? Am I really your teacher? In ancient China, there's a saying that one day is a teacher and a lifelong father. What's wrong with an open class, right? What is it? Open lecture, basically. You've benefited me a lot, and you are my teacher. My life is. So long was in Huangbo's eyelids. I took a cake from the bottom and ate it unceremoniously, without any sense of restraint. Oh, Homecoming Rebirth is like this flowing years has this very nice drinking scene in around chapter 12 or 13. But as I said before, I just couldn't cut it. It was a little too boring for me to read out loud. So I'm reading another one of my favorite urban life stories, which is I Only Make Bad Movies. Okay, okay. You can really um even make the dead rise with your mouth. Um with your speaking abilities. Huang Bo shook his head helplessly again and sat beside Seng Lang. He took a sip of his tea. But Seng Lang's shameless behavior, for some reason, Huang Bo found that he didn't hate him and even had a good impression of him. That is, the habit of bringing liquor every time I come here is very nerve-wracking. What bad idea is this kid up to? He wants me to drink again? Heh. Seng Lang smiled shamelessly and threw the pastry skin into the trash can. Seng Lang, how are you prepared for this makeup exam? It's not a problem. I'm basically just passing. You're not taking your studies seriously, If you want to be in the circle in the future, you can't have a bad reputation, right? Reputation is everything. Also, you should do less of demolition of people like yesterday. In the circle, the most premature deaths are those who think they are talented people. Do you understand? After seeing Sung Lang, Huang Po thought about yesterday's news again and finally said it. Understood. But it was an accident yesterday and I was stunned. Sung Lang shook his head with a bitter corner in his mouth. What else can you do? Even Everest can't hold you back. Isn't it this just for the sake of eating? Sung Lang smiled again. When he saw Zhang Li bring breakfast, Sung Lang stood up instantly and smiled more happily. Sister, thank you. Your cooking skills are so great. And I feel a little greedy. I've been thinking about your craftsmanship for a very long time. Eating food made by you for a very long time. Haha. Eat slowly. It's not enough. But when it comes to cooking, you, Teacher Huang, are even better. Zhang Li burst into laughter when she saw Sung Lang took a big mouthful of the bowl, right? Respect is eating all the food that you've been given. I'm terrible at that, but that is respect, right? You enjoy their food. Although she didn't meet the student very much, she had a good impression of the student. Also, plus points because it's his wife. He's from the countryside, but he works very hard. The key is that his mouth is sweet and he looks at ease and at ease. Can't. Nung. Nung. Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. I must tell you if it's not enough, Mr. Huang. I'll definitely come and try it again. Haha. Nice. Or good. Zhang Li glanced at Huang Bo with a smile. Looking at Seng Long's shameless appearance, Huang Bo couldn't help but cry and laugh. This is the first time he had seen such a confident person. Are you making a reservation for the next meal? After Zhang Li left, Huang Bo looked at the black bag on Seng Long's left and felt a little strange. Seng Long, your package is. Oh, Mr. Huang, this is the script. I revised the script of Our Youth we talked about before, and at the same time, I got another contract. Right? He's slowly placing his chips on the table. You get an agreement here, you get an agreement there, and eventually it all comes together. The main purpose of coming here today is to talk to you, right? It's all about success. Let's talk about the movie. After the efforts of my brothers and I of sleepless nights, our movie finally had some results. This is the photo data of our crew. We have reached a shooting agreement with the middle school in Solnan province. Except in addition, I also plan to find Qingyao as the heroine. The primary negotiations with Qingyao have already concluded. Qingyao is very optimistic about this movie. The only problem is that I hope to get a guarantee. Wang Bo watched Seng Long slowly take out stacks of documents from the black bag, gushing about his achievements in the film Our Youth. Wang Bo nodded after listening for a while. Show me the script. It's good. When Huang Bo took over, I gotta start reading that literally, rather than reading it. Huang Bo took over the script of Our Youth again. He found that the script was completely different from the original script. Every character in it begins to tend to be a little plump. At the same time, it can be seen from the lines that this script has been revised repeatedly. The role of a shoe peddler is also added. The story is very thought provoking, and it really took a lot of money of thought. This is the core of the story, but we're not going to take it apart. It is fantasy after all. However, when he saw Teacher Tseng in the script, Huang Bo frowned. He has a kind of feeling that Sung has completely copied him. He even felt that every word Teacher Tseng said was something that he would say, or something he would say in the future. Sung Long, what do you need my help for? He noticed something wrong. Mr. Huang, I hope you can play a role. That is the role of Mr. Chung in the movie. With your official participation, my puzzle will be more complete and perfect. Mr. Huang, this is the contract. Why don't you have a look? What needs to be and see if anything needs to be fixed. If there's nothing to be fixed, you should support the students and make your dreams come true. Sang Long took out another actor contract. Sang Long, what? What? You really are a special person, and your script's ability to set up a character is really amazing. I have to admit, I'm really quite satisfied with the script. I have no problem participating in the role, and I have no problem signing it. You agreed? Well, yeah, but what? How are you gonna pay me? How much is the advance payment? Huang Bo smiled and looked at Sang Long. Ah, Salong's confident expression was slightly dull for a while. According to the actual salary the contract is written. But you don't have the money, right? You haven't pulled investment, have you? Well, Salong nodded after facing Huang Bo's game without any shame. I don't have any money. But what's wrong with me wanting to sign you? Is there a problem? See, this is yeah, as I said, well, a crying baby gets no milk. Sorry for my interspersed idioms. Basically, it's only when you ask can you dare to receive, I think would be the more appropriate sentence. Well, I can invest 300, but then again, this is a fantasy story. I'm not going to say don't actually do it, but, consider your options. I can invest 300,000 yen into this script for you. That's about $50,000. Wow, that's a lot. $50,000. But then again, this is considered small amounts in a school like this. Don't take a penny, and I won't take a single penny. I won't take a salary to appear in your movie. Seeing So Long showing expression again, I can't help it, and you can help me later. Huang Bo finally sighed. Can't this guy show a guilty expression? What does it mean if you don't have any money and you still want to sign me? Do you know that I'll invest? Are these the feelings that you've felt for me? Wow, is it so good? Sung Long was presently surprised. But what? Sung Long's smile was stagnant. He was usually not at the back and he had very rare requirements. The program Life in My Dreams is about to be recorded, and there's a shortage of temporary screenwriters. Come to the scene tomorrow and help me write some small scenarios. The workload may be very large. Of course, I won't pay you. Expenses in all aspects are at your own expense. A small show variety script? I can't write it, Sun Long was taken aback. Do you want an investment of 300,000 yen? $50,000? I want it, Sun Long nodded. Do you want to see stars? Yeah, I want to. Okay, take over the work. No matter how hard or tight it is, I'll do all the dirty work. Um, get up, mm, get up here at 5 in the morning tomorrow. Got it. What do you think of this guy? This child's emotional intelligence is a little bit scary. He's not afraid of anything. Such people that are in the circle, as long as there's no accidents, they'll be very popular. Well, yeah, but it's a pity. What pity? If he doesn't fail the course, his resume will look so good in the future. Maybe it could even be a positive example to promote it. Unfortunately, he failed the course because, this is the university, he's a professor. Can you make it up and establish a rule that the prodigal son can't change? Also, Huang Bo showed a regretful expression after watching Sung Lang leave the house. His wife, Zhang Li, looked at Sung Lang's movie script and the densely detailed shooting plan with some complexity. It's really hard for her to imagine how a child can make a movie from scratch. No investment, no connections, no actors. Sung Lang left, with 3 scripts in hand and left. The 2 contracts are Huangpo's participation in our youth and preparation of a temporary investment contract. The last one is the guest contract for Life in a Dream. No one knows that one day later this variety show, Life in a Dream, will be turned upside down by Sung Lang. Of course, Huangpo didn't even know that Sung Lang was already thinking about a few guests on this variety show. My supporting actor and actress seems to be here together. Mr. Huang, Lao Huang, basically. It's just a respectful name. Old Huang really is a good person. He's really here to support me. Well, in the future, I'm going to buy more liquor that he likes to drink. Wait, it cost me $200 to buy wine. I only have $300 now. Will 300 be enough for me to go to such an awesome occasion tomorrow? Well, let's try cutting a wave of leaves first. Well, Teacher Song's almost at work tomorrow. And that's the end of chapter 13. Still really not eventful, but honestly, compared to how some of the interesting things that happen between chapter 9 and 12, I mean, I probably could have skipped this, but I guess it'll be a good pause before we continue on. Who knows? Maybe later I'll find that this chapter is really fun.